Here's that play ball forecast. Noon today, around 87. Pop-up storms, especially late afternoon. Got to try to dodge that for my son Brady's golf match today out at Champions Point. Near 90 degrees this afternoon. It'll certainly feel like 90 degrees. And then we'll try to cool it down. If we get those storms to move through by early evening, that might mix up the air to where it feels a little bit better by evening time. So the rain chance, I've got it at about 60% chance of those showers and thunderstorms late today. We're going to see that with the weather models in detail here in just a second. Southwest winds picking up at around 5 to 15 later on. And we've got some more good mornings here. Leslie Shipley, thanks for tuning in from Madison, Indiana. Just had the regatta there, big weekend in Madison. It's a big weekend everywhere with all the fireworks festivities. Hope you had a good weekend. Dorothy, hope everybody has their fingers left after all the fireworks as well. We had a few that we had in our neighborhood, and we stayed safe, thankfully. Dorothy McDaniel, good morning to you. And Lily Lasley, good morning. Back watching our Bennett 10 episode after just having our Extol Unfiltered, caffeinated by NWSB. And again, we're looking at just a lot of sunshine across the area here in uptown New Albany. We're about to get to those weather models here in just a second. Typically, it's around 10:20 when we do the deep dive into the weather models and get real weather nerdy. So we'll see that here in just a second. But here's back to that forecast for you. The UV index is going to be high today, 10. That is an easy burn. I was out kind of by the pool and the lake a little bit this weekend. Definitely had to monitor the burn situation throughout the weekend. So upper 80s near 90 degrees today. Pop-up storm, southwest wind 5 to 15 for your July 7th. And our sunset at 9:09. And a lot of the activity will start to fade away around sunset. You lose that heat of the day. You typically lose the energy for a bunch of storms around. So there might be an isolated shower left over tonight, but a lot of that activity will fade away around or just after sunset. Sometimes it makes a beautiful sunset. You have those leftover, towering cumulus clouds that can block some of the sun, give you some crepuscular rays. Sometimes it's good for some photography out there in these summer sunsets. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:27. We're losing about a minute or two of daylight per day now. Just the way it is for the rest of the year. Tomorrow's forecast for your July 8th, 74 out the door, 86 by noon, and around 90 for the afternoon high. A smaller chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm tomorrow. I think most of our Tuesday will be dry. Now, the weather models do bring in another disturbance late Tuesday night into Wednesday. That should give us another higher chance of a round of some showers and thunderstorms into the area. So we'll take a look at that with the weather models too here in just a moment. So back to the forecast. Our normal high is 89. Our normal low is 71. So now through most of August is the hottest part of the year on average. So we're right in the middle, again, of the dog days of summer. Here is your 7-day forecast. 90 tomorrow with that small 20% chance of a pop-up shower. We're going to increase that chance late Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Kind of have a front that's kind of meandering over the region. So it's got a little low pressure that moves along it and gives us a better chance of rain there midweek for Wednesday. I'll drop it to 87 thanks to the extra clouds and the shower chances expected there. 89 with a pop-up shower or thunderstorm possible Thursday. Friday's looking dry, and most of Saturday's looking dry before the next front moves in Sunday, giving us an increasing chance of some showers and thunderstorms. So kind of today, Wednesday, Sunday, the most widespread rain chances. And then in between, you might get a pop-up or two. It's kind of the weather pattern we're in right now. We've got some more comments coming in here. We've got a good morning from Barbara Haas. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you're getting your golf and your beers in soon. Karen Pate, good morning. Hope it cools down soon just a little. Unfortunately, I don't see a change in this weather pattern. I looked at the long-range data, and it just kept us in the humid zone. So we could be in this for a while. We've got Dennis Gregory from Bedford, Indiana. So we got over to Madison. We've got Bedford. Keep putting in your town names. Even if you're watching the replay later this afternoon, drop in the comments. Thanks for showing us where you're from there. And again, as we go back here, let me go ahead and add this back. So here's the interactive radar. I'm going to pop in the temperatures. So there is a front over Indiana. South of it, upper 70s, low 80s. North of the front, they're in the 60s up around Indianapolis. So that is going to be, again, that spark that gives us a good chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms today. As I bring up the weather maps here, I'm going to bring up the dew point map. That's a measure of the water content in the air. It's kind of the comfort factor as well, kind of your Muggy meter. So let me get the current dew points loaded up. When you're in the 70s with the dew points, it is straight up tropical. So you can see from the Rockies west, that's all that dry desert air. And then from the Great Plains east, we are all in that Gulf air, the Atlantic, all that air coming off of those bodies of water, supplying us with a humid environment. So we've got dew points in the lower 70s as promised. If you're watching Ben at 10 last week, the humidity would just gradually creep up as we head into this week. So that air you can wear is here to stay. And that provides the tropical environment for those showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. Now, this is the radar and satellite. Let me bring up something here. This is the Chantal. I think it's the third tropical storm of the season. It's now a tropical depression, and you can see where it went, made landfall in northern South Carolina, went through North Carolina with some flash flooding there, and is now around Washington, D.C., and kind of falling apart there. So that's a little tropical update. And the remnants of what was Tropical Storm Barry causing that tragedy in Texas, at least 82 lives taken, still unfortunately providing slow moving. That's the problem with these tropical systems. When they come inland in the summertime, they have nowhere to go. There's no upper level winds to push them out. So if you notice here, north of Austin and near Waco, this is an hour-and-a-half loop, and it is just sitting over one area. So there are flash flood warnings ongoing there in central Texas as we speak. And then as we look closer to home, as we go into more of a full screen mode here, right along that front, there are some showers and thunderstorms this morning, just out to the west of Vincennes, Indiana, kind of cruising down towards Interstate 64. So that is what's going to spark the showers and thunderstorms for us a little bit later on this afternoon. All right, so going back, before we get to the weather model data, let me bring up the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather risk. And again, in these tropical environments, when you have very little wind, you'll see the cumulus clouds growing straight up. And when you have very little wind in the atmosphere, it's typically a very low risk of severe weather. So the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. Let me go back over here. It is trying to load. Let me give it one more second here. Let me try to bring that back up. There's the Climate Prediction Center. There we go. So this is the severe weather risk for today. There's level 3 of the enhanced risk over the northern plains, over Nebraska and into South Dakota. But we're just in this little zone of green. That's level 1 out of 5 in the severe weather risk categories from the Storm Prediction Center. The Storm Prediction Center is a division of the National Weather Service out of Norman, Oklahoma. And their one big job is to look across the United States and see where severe weather might happen. So low risk for us for today. They've got us under that level 1 for the potential of what I would call little microburst, downburst winds. In these tropical downpours, sometimes they can kind of collapse and produce some isolated damaging winds. But overall, the severe weather threat is on the low side for our area. Now let's go ahead and bring up the future radar. And we typically like to start with the HRR, the HRRR, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh Weather Model. And that's what we'll get loaded up here for you. Looking at the reflectivity, which is your typical radar view, and this is time now, basically. And it does show it is picking up very well on a little bit of that activity in southeastern Illinois and near Vincennes. So the initialization of the weather model is in good shape. Good morning. We've got a good morning popping in. Don't be shy. Pop in. Let us know where you're watching from. Good morning from Charlestown. Rita, thanks for watching. Cheers with the Big Happy this morning with just water. All right, as we look ahead to, let's go to 3 o'clock, mid-afternoon. Let's see if anything's popping here. So we're starting to see that activity move a little bit closer. Maybe Jasper, Du Bois County starting to see that. So you can see the trend here from northwest to southeast as we progress through the afternoon. You're going to see that increasing chance of some showers and thunderstorms. My sun tees off just before 2 o'clock. I'm hoping we can get most of that round in before you can see what happens here. This is 4 o'clock, and then this is at 5 o'clock. So there you can see the active weather starting to gradually move our way as that front moves in, sparking up those cumulonimbus clouds. Nimbus meaning rain, cumulus meaning those towering clouds. So there you can see getting a little bit busier this afternoon. Now, do you want the rain? Because I know there's a lot of yards out there getting a little bit dry, and I'm not against it. I know it's going to grow my grass. I'm going to have to get out there and mow again, but almost getting a little bit crispy out there with some of the yards that haven't seen the rain lately. This is at 6 p.m. If you also notice a trend here, late afternoon, most of this is lining up along and north of I-64. So southern Indiana, kind of a little bit of a bullseye late afternoon for the shower and thunderstorm activity, while areas south over much of central Kentucky may end up drier for a lot longer. And this is at 7 o'clock. Again, kind of lining up along and north of 64. This is 8 p.m. As we head towards sunset, it looks like things will begin to settle down. Kind of like clockwork, you lose the heat of the day, and then you lose the energy for the storms. Amy Joe Moore, I like the rain. Yes, please. An added benefit of the rain, not only because it's the growing season and our lawns and gardens could use it, and the farm fields out there, but also, again, it can kind of mix up the atmosphere, bring some of that rain-cooled air to the surface, and give us a little bit of a break from the high heat and humidity as well. All right, so let's move forward in time. Let's actually compare and contrast with the NAM 3 kilometer. We're going to go back to time now and see how it is doing in loading up. And it is also picking up very well on where there is some showers out in southeastern Illinois. So this is the other high resolution weather model, the NAM 3 kilometer. 3 kilometers shows you what resolution it is with its data points. This is at noon today, so we're mostly dry through early afternoon, it looks like. This is at 2 o'clock. It shows just a couple of these little pop-up isolated showers. 3 o'clock right here, and you see it just kind of grows into the late afternoon. This is at 4 p.m. This is at 5 o'clock. So ramping up late day. There is 6 p.m. with the NAM 3 kilometer. And then here is 7 o'clock. So this is the representation of the NAM 3 kilometer. There you can see the pop-up downpours across the area for later today. It shows a bit more than the HER weather model, which has kind of been, I would say, its bias lately. You can see it more south into western Kentucky later today. Looking a little bit farther down the road here. This is at 8 p.m. And then here's at 9 o'clock. And then again, the trend, we kind of lose the heat of the day. We lose the showers and thunderstorms. And we got Paula Bird. Good morning, Ben. Thanks for all the updates. You're welcome. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you, Paula. All right, going into tomorrow, we're going to fast forward here to tomorrow morning with the NAM 3 kilometer. This is 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, showing mostly dry conditions across the area. There might be an isolated shower that persists through the nighttime, but most areas will be dry. This is going into noon tomorrow. Mostly dry conditions around the region. (2 o'clock). I'm going to stop it here at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon when you typically expect some pop-up showers. Notice much more isolated tomorrow. So I've dropped it to about a 20% chance of a pop-up shower tomorrow afternoon. Looks like most areas will be dry for our Tuesday. Now, want you to pay attention here to tomorrow night as we look ahead. That could be our next pretty good round of some showers and thunderstorms. We've got Joseph Rubel saying Shelby County needs the rain. I was want to put up the Squire Boone statue up in Shelbyville. I got you. Yeah, we'll try to get you some rain here soon. We'll definitely have several chances this week, Joseph. Christian Walker, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in to our Ben at 10 this morning. This is around 6 p.m. tomorrow. I'm going to back up the view. So notice the active weather out west heading towards St. Louis tomorrow evening. It looks like that'll be the next disturbance that heads our way. So today we've got this front that's going to spark a round of showers and thunderstorms, and then late tomorrow night, it looks like a pretty good chance as well. So this is at around 10 p.m. tomorrow evening, 11 o'clock tomorrow night. So right around midnight or later, we're starting to see the chances of showers and thunderstorms ramping back up. Again, this would be a super low threat of any severe weather, mostly tropical downpours. So this is at 2 a.m. So tomorrow night, will you wake up to the sound of thunder? This is at 3 a.m. early Wednesday morning. So late tomorrow night into early Wednesday. Looks like a pretty good chance of another round of showers and thunderstorms across the area.